Okay, it says we're live. So that means we are live on YouTube and on Instagram. Hello, everyone. If there is anyone, I don't know. I'll just put that one to sleep for now. It took a while. um, Welcome, everyone, to tea time. Um, I thought about calling this tea time with Beth and Nikki, but for now, it's just going to be tea time. So grab your favorite tea and join me. We're going to talk about Beth a little bit. She was my best friend. She got me into tarot, and we'll do a little bit of tarot reading. A little bit of tarot reading. Isn't that weird? Like trying to do two at once. I don't know. We're going to try it. Eventually, I would like to have three at once, but yeah, silly stuff. The whole point was just to be live tonight, and I'm live. It's exciting. Mm-hmm. Mate cocido, if anyone knows. It's the best kind of tea in the world. We're doing tea time tonight. We're going to do some tarot reading. That was the first cards I picked out while I was trying to get on YouTube. So that's fun. And I can't even see if I have any viewers or not, but that's okay. We're just going to roll with it. The point was to show up and to be here. And on that front, mission accomplished. As I said, I kind of wanted to talk about Beth tonight, do a little bit of an introduction. So I know that, well, I think both platforms can save the lives. Can save this chaos moving forward. So that'll be fun to look back on in a year once I've done more. I was going to say more successful ones, but like I said, the goal was to be live, and now I'm live. Anyway, let's talk about Beth for a minute. Beth was one of my best friends. Trying to pull up a picture. Like I said, I'm like super unprepared for this right now. It just is what it is, okay? We're gonna roll with it. Yeah, let me grab a photo real quick of Miss Beth. Some of my favorite memories. We went to Washington just after she got divorced, and it was just a ton of fun. We went to the people posting on her wall for her birthday. Anyways, right after she got divorced, she wanted to celebrate, so we went to Washington together, and just had a good time. We went to, I always forget what the hotel is called, but they have a peacock room, and it's like this bar lounge area. And it was a lot of fun. Like, it was just us two, and there were a couple different people that had shown up, at least one of her friends, I remember, on the trip, and just had drinks together and had really delicious food. We walked around town a little bit, had some really funny stuff happen. But it was just a really good time, a girls' weekend. I keep getting distracted. Anyway, I am trying to grab a photo of her. There we go. Photos. Ding dong. Yeah. And then after she passed away, her three kids and I went to Washington, over to the San Juan Islands, and that was really special. We all got matching tattoos in her honor. She was a fierce supporter of and protector of orcas. I didn't even show you guys how mean. Right there. Um, Orcas and whales and dolphins, and went to bat against I forget the name of the company. My brain is totally spacey today. I apologize. Um, but she went to bat against a company like SeaWorld. And if you read about the captivity of creatures like dolphins and whales and all of the wildlife there that are kept in those kinds of places, they're not meant to be there. If you have a moment, in Beth's honor, please go watch Blackfish. A lot of her friends worked on that, um, and she was like part of some of the background research, I believe, something like that. She did a lot of research in that area, though, whether it was for Blackfish or not. Um, she was published on the internet. She had her own website, and I so wish that we would have saved that um, before it was gone. But here nor there. Her cute little Foxy, her little dog. Um, she has a lot of pictures on her profile of her family and stuff. Not very many of her. Um, oh, this was on that trip that I was talking about to Washington. Um, Look at it. Yeah, check it out. Yep, two Saggies. Um, yeah, this was in the Peacock room on that trip. Anyways, I don't want to show a lot of photos of her. She wasn't really that kind of person where she wanted to be publicized. She did one interview that I know of. It's out there somewhere on the web, and I can probably find it if I look for it. Um, but it was one interview, and it had to do with all of her research and everything about um, that wildlife protection. Um, and I know I'm not saying any of this right because I am super uneducated about all of it. The only education that I really had was from her, and then just the subsequent little stuff because she piqued my interest about it. Um, so again, if you have a moment in her honor, please do go check out Blackfish. Um, it was great. I showed my cousins no, it was earlier this year, um, and they really enjoyed it. They're teenage girls. I really wasn't sure that they would be interested. It's very documentary type of movie. It's on Netflix, I believe. Um, Very much worth the time though, and I personally learned a lot. So I urge you all to go check that out. That is the best way to honor her on her birthday, um, and every day aside from that. Um, so yeah, she passed away a year and a half ago. Um, I was lucky enough to be able to be her caretaker in that time. And I was lucky enough to spend a lot of time with her family in that time. Um, I will always feel very fortunate for that. But before she passed away, she told me that if she could pick anything to do, um, she would want to be like a spirit guide. And I didn't get to tell her while she was alive, but even while she was alive, she was a spirit guide to me. I know it sounds kind of funny, but um, she's the one that got me into tarot. And, before I met her, I had all these different ideas of what I might believe. I was never raised with like a religious background or any kind of belief in that area, really. And if you know me in real life, I've kind of always just said I'm on a journey, which is why I've named everything Nicole.and.the.Journey. I don't think that this journey will ever end, even if I do find some answers along the way. But she was a pivotal in my journey because she did help me get some answers that made sense. And she helped me kind of piece together some things some ideas that I had before that I just really hadn't heard come together anywhere else. So she was my spirit guide even before she passed. And now, since her passing in the last year and a half, I truly believe that she is a spirit guide. And, it's not just that she's my spirit guide, because the way that our souls or spirits, or however you want to look at it after we pass away, we're not confined to just being that for one person. We can show up for our people in all different kinds of ways at the same time. It's kind of mind-blowing when you dive into it. But again, that's for another day. The point here is I still feel a very strong connection with Beth, and it's just something, again, I'm just so thankful for. I never could have anticipated it, and the way that I can still hear her in my mind when I'm giving readings, sometimes especially when I'm reading for her family, or if I'm having a hard day, it's not even that I purposefully try to connect with her at any point. Sometimes it's just what happens. Her voice pops in my head, and more often than not, it's a "for fuck's sake," because that's what she said. But she was British, so it's always in a British accent, and I'm not going to try and attempt that tonight. It's not what we're doing, but we are doing a tea time. Yeah, I'm thankful for Beth. I'm thankful for all that she did and the presence that she continues to be for me and everyone else. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be doing this now. At least, I don't think. I don't think my life would have taken that trajectory towards tarot if she had come into my life. So on so many levels, I'm just very thankful for her. And on that note, let's go ahead and pull a few cards. I don't even think anyone has been in these lives, and that's okay. Like I said, my goal was to just be here and to talk about Beth, and we did that. So, imperfect as it may be, mission accomplished, friends. If you catch me in a live in the future, if there's not a whole lot of people here, I'm totally up for pulling a card for you. That can be pretty fun. I did that about 4 years ago, I think, on my old channel when I was first starting with tarot. And that was a lot of fun, just connecting with people, Yeah. At that time, other friend had passed away. But that is a story for another time, my friends. Tonight is about Beth. So, in that spirit, let's go ahead and just get a message from Beth. It sounds kind of silly, but I don't know. Let's see what she has to say. Whether I don't think it's going to be necessarily towards me. Hopefully something all of us can learn from and get something from. I don't know. Let's just see. I'm going to start with the Rider-Waite deck. I like starting there. And then the Oracle of E. Another fun fact, most of my tarot decks and Oracle decks came from Beth. She didn't have like a year where she would do tarot readings necessarily. Like I said, she really didn't like being on that side of the camera. But she really did enjoy doing tarot, and she would read for herself most of the time, but she and I read for each other, even in her last weeks. That was that was pretty cool too. Um, but she would read for her family too. She told me about how her family would have like these tarot parties. Again, they're over in England. Um, I over in the UK, I should say. I'm terrible with geography. Um, I would love to get over there and visit one day, but I am very ignorant in the meantime. But they are all over there, and they are lovely people. I can't wait to see them again. Um, but she talked about how they would have tarot parties, and she told me about the club scene over there. She told me about some of the food that they have. Um, One time we tried to make scones, and like we were trying to have high tea with our friends. And she's laughing at me now because when we were there, we were like at this condo, right? And while we were there, it was not either one of our houses. But while we were there was like this funny thing with a cat that happened. We stayed up till 6 in the morning drinking alcohol out of teacups. I was drinking Fireball out of a teacup. It was wonderful. I don't even drink anymore, but it was a fun memory. Um, and we tried to host tea for our friends. She tried to host tea. I was just there to help. I was happy to be there. Um, I'm always happy to bake. So we were baking scones. I forgot what she called them. Maybe if someone watches this and they remember or they know what they're called, they're like golden raisins. I don't remember what they're called. Like I can see her trying to tell me what it is. I don't know. I'm sorry. Um, so we made these scones, and the first tray, like how it happened, she was putting it in the oven, and next thing I know, half of them are on the floor. Like the tray just hadn't made it all the way in or something. Um, anyway, so we made a lot of scones. Um, we made little tiny tea sandwiches. Those were a lot of fun. I told her about the ones that I had at an Americanized tea. We have places here and there that you can go for tea, like at a little tea house, in some places in America. So I had been to one of those places and had tea once, and I love it. I love it. It's a fun little thing to do. Um, but I mean, for Brits, it's like tea is a daily thing, like multiple times a day. Um, and I mean, like when I was there with her, I got to know just how she took her tea. There's each person will have their own way that they take tea, and that's true. But it's very ritualized, where like in America we don't have that same kind of ritual. I guess kind of with coffee, but it's a different feeling because with coffee you're getting up in the morning and you're going, or you're having it later in the day because you need to stay awake and you need that extra jolt, right? I have more than one shot of espresso in a drink and I'm like buzzed. I'm buzzing and I can't handle it. Um, so I also just don't do coffee very much. um, I always joke when I get coffee that if I'm getting coffee, I like the caramel. I don't actually like the coffee. Anyways, so that it's always kind of this hurried thing, and I think that's an American thing anyways, just being on the go, hurried all the time. Not all Americans. When I'm in Montana, things tend to be a lot slower, although that's changing a little bit, but it's one thing that I really love about Montana. Um, but by and large, I mean, you know what I mean? It's just a lifestyle of Americans. And when I was having tea with her, I just always had this sense where You're having tea, you're having a moment, you're taking the time to just enjoy where you're at and be in the moment and yeah, enjoy it. So we'll just enjoy it. I feel like it'll feel weird to hold it on this side, but like you need to see the cute little embellishment. She had a whole set of these and they're each different colors, but like they have the same white embellishment. I just love it so much. Um, yeah, so that's why I wanted to start this tea time. At one point in our journey together, we had talked about how it would be really cool. Maybe I talked about it. I don't know. Um, how it would be cool if she did like a tea time with Beth kind of a thing as like a tarot reading on a YouTube channel. Because she was a really good reader. She was a very strong reader. She had studied her decks and really connected, you know. Um, so I saw where that would be really cool for her. But it never came to fruition, and that's okay, you know. Um, but I am making that happen now. We're doing tea time and readings. So um, we got the tea time. Let's do the reading. Six of Pentacles in the reverse. Um, Seven of Cups, that came out earlier also. And Strength. I almost said eight of, and then I was like, it is the number eight. It's not eight of. Um, Anyways, so it's kind of a weird combination here because it's almost like I'm being pulled in a few different directions. Um, and I keep kicking that. Not cool. Let's fix that. Okay. See, chaos. I am very easily distracted. Um, I know that when I look back on this one day, I'm going to laugh and it'll be good. Focus. Anyways, um, so like I said, this is kind of pulling me in a few different directions because it's almost like you've been kind of, I want to say like within yourself. It's not a hermit type energy where you're like by yourself and contemplating. It's like you've had the opportunity to affect other people in good ways, like to be generous and things like that, and you've passed them up, which is really weird. I've not had that sense before, and I'm not that kind of person that just likes calling people out. So um you know, if I said it and you're like, yeah, okay, that something came to mind specifically, that's for you. um but very closed off, not receptive, not open. Maybe you feel like you don't have anything to give. And it could be true in monetary ways or whatever, you know, you, especially this time of year, many of us are just trying to make our own ends meet, right? So we feel like we don't really have a lot to help. Um, but we have to keep in mind that that's not the only way that we can help people. We can also just help people by showing up or, you know, by smiling or by listening. I remember this one time I went to Vegas and I didn't have anything to give. I was super broke and I spent what I had to get there for this conference to try and make money, right? I learned a lot. I don't regret it. I loved it. But if you've ever been to Vegas and done the walking from place to place instead of just driving, um, you'll know that, you know, there's a lot of people that just hang out in the streets and Some of them are houseless. Some of them, they're trying all these different ways to make little bits of money so that they can afford dinner or afford whatever they're going to do, right? There's a lot of things going on in Vegas, and I'm not about to assume what they are doing. But it's not my business either. They're living their life. But I had nothing to give in the traditional monetary sense. But anytime that I would go out for food, it was usually like fast food, cheap stuff that I could get because, again, I couldn't really afford anything. So I would get something where, like a cheeseburger, whatever, in the meal, and I would give them the other one. I don't really eat the fries, so I would give them the fries, right? And it was still warm. It was fresh. It was good. It's not like I was giving them leftovers. Um, I was giving what I could. It was that wiggle room in what I did have. Um, and I mean, I would ask them if they wanted it because sometimes maybe they'd just eaten or whatever. So I'm not going to assume that that person who looks needy or whatever needs food. That's not my assumption to make. I would ask them. And if they said yes, then I don't know. But even I remember this person in particular. I feel like I'm rambling on this particular thought, but it doesn't matter. No one's here. Anyways, even if you're watching this in the playback, there was this person who was doing this really cool thing with pennies, and it was talking about the balance of life, and they had this whole story to go along with drawing on this penny, and it wasn't a big deal, but it turned into a big deal for me, because they were providing a moment for just people walking by, anyone that was willing to listen. They were being kind and spreading positive, loving thoughts. And sometimes that's what we need, right? And in turn, I got to be that person that was able to just take 5 minutes and listen that day. That's all I had to give was my time. I didn't have anything else to give. A lot of times when people are doing those kinds of artistic things where they're making things on the street, you want to like money for efforts, right? For their artistry and their kindness. I didn't have money for that. Give me the penny. That was super nice. But I still have that penny too. But I gave my time that day. And the reason I never forgot that, or part of the reason anyways, is because he was really grateful to me just for staying and listening, because no one else really did. Sometimes that's all we need. And sometimes when that's all we have to give, that's totally enough. So for whoever needed to hear that, sorry, that went off on kind of a tangent. Anyways, like I said, the Seven of Cups came up earlier in a reading. And it kind of, I'm getting the same feeling now that I got earlier today. So it was kind of this idea that like you have, in that particular reading, it was like you have a lot of really great choices that are present in front of you. There's a couple of them that maybe shine brighter. They pull you more strongly. I don't know how to exactly word, but again, if you know, if this is for you, you know what I'm talking about. There's a couple of those choices that pull you more. And it's not about what you should do or what's right or what's super logical or anything like that. What it's going to come down to is, what do you want to do? Because the couple or few choices that you're facing are like, it's going to work out either way. You've set yourself up well. You have a good set of skills, things like that. So logic aside, which choice do you want to pursue? What do you want your life to look like? And which one fits better, right? Um, it's that's where you're going to dive into that intuition part of yourself to really connect and draw into what's next. I think you already know. I don't think it'll take a whole lot of contemplating from here, but if it does take a little bit longer, that's okay. I'm seeing that you have the time to contemplate your choices. So take the time if that's what you're needing. Um, take the time. It just kind of echoed as if I was in a cave, because I was that theme was coming up when I was explaining a little tangent in Vegas. Just take the time, whether it be for others and listening, or you give, or in contemplating your next step in your choices. Take the time. Take the time. That's the big message I'm hearing right now. So take the time. As far as the strength card, I'm really drawn to where she's like pulling on the lion's mouth, right? It's like you're wrestling with this. It feels like a part of you. It's not an external force like it is in this card. And it might be coming back to this part that I went on tangent on. Regardless, with this strength card, it's struggling against this part that you don't need to be struggling with. You're giving a lot of energy towards it, and you don't need to be. Again, that's not something that I normally come up with for this card, but that's what's being guided to me. So for whoever needed to hear that, stop struggling against yourself. Stop doubting yourself. Um, yeah. Um, you know, I think we'll end that here. It just told me not to read anymore. So the big message is there: take the time and don't struggle against yourself. I guess that's the messages for tonight. Um, in the future, this will be a whole lot less chaotic. I hope. Um, I get tongue tied. My brain and my mouth do weird things sometimes, and that's just who I am. Um, I fumble over technology, and things just don't go the way that I plan them to. But I am persistent, and all of these things that are happening now are dreams come true. And even if they aren't happening exactly how I envisioned them, um, I have full faith that by continuing forward, I'll make the dreams come true, and things will come together. It's going to be good. So on that note, I look forward to reading for you again soon, whether it be just one of my normal readings, or another live in the future. I'll be going live a few times a week, including at least once weekly for tea time. That'll be pretty fun. And that one will have a more intentionally focused part with the connection with Beth. Um, Whether I share stories or not as much moving forward, I don't know. I might put out just a couple of videos about Beth because she was a very important part of how this all got started. But the focus in the future of tea time will be connecting with her as my spirit guide in order to bring you all readings while we drink some tea in her honor. So I'm gonna finish my tea. I'm gonna go to bed. And yeah, to seeing you guys again soon. Oh, and I will have the December readings up Monday, Tuesday, something like that. We're a little bit late this month, but that's fine. And with it being December, that was the other thing I wanted to mention. It's my birthday month, it's Christmas month, it's my favorite month. And I'm determined that this will be a December to remember. So, to kick it off, I have been working really hard to update my website with everything that I have for sale. Most of it is on sale right now. It's for sale, but it's also on sale. So that's exciting. Hi. I see Buzz just joined. And I was just kind of saying bye, but I was updating that I am starting this tea time. It'll be at least once weekly live. And I got my website updated mostly with everything that I have for sale on sale. The coasters are coming out Monday, I believe. It just depends on when I'm able to get all of the technical stuff put together. But as soon as I can. And like I said, the monthly readings for December will be out Monday or Tuesday. So in the meantime, I hope everyone has a great night. And I hope that y'all have a great December. It's going to be a great December. December to remember. Anyway, I'll see you all again soon. I love you lots. Bye.